I had everything. I did everything right. I went to all of the good schools. I had a super high paying job and everything, but I was just so incredibly miserable.
We had the capital. It's not like we didn't have, we had the capital, but we were not able to go ahead and, take action. And the only reason I didn't hit my low was because of this space, this program, this business, this idea that I had. I have a backup plan or have an alternative path.
Today, I have two amazing investors who are not only crushing it in real estate, but have interesting stories to tell of their own journey and their past and how they got here and how they think. And I cannot wait to soak up just who they are and their thoughts and their philosophies. So it's going to be a really exciting time. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to start with you, Viba. Why don't you take a moment and introduce yourself to everyone? Tell everybody who you are, where you're from, what's your day job, what do you like to do for fun, and how about also what's your portfolio size?
Hey, hi, Palak. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
So this is Vibha. I am a mom of two, and and my W-2 I'm a data and AI consultant. So basically, being in this data and analytics space for now close to 17 years. Yeah, 17 years in total. And in Ravi, my husband and I have. Are in this real estate journey. The real estate seed has been sown in, I think for a very long time. And maybe even when I first landed into United States in 2008. Yes, and I think what else do I want to add? So I'm based out of Atlanta now. And then also, I was originally looking to invest only in Atlanta, but now I'm investing in Cleveland, Ohio. That was a big mind shift after joining the portfolio program. And I think, yeah, my current ERV is about 160 with after joining the portfolio, but I also had two other properties prior to that, and that ARV is around 830K. But that does not include my primary. I think if I include my primary, my equity is probably around 1.1 or something like that.
Yes. I know some people in California are like 1.1, that wouldn't do much
Yeah.
for us. But we're talking rentals too here, right? So
Yes,
yeah, I
yes.
love it. Let's go to Goldie. Goldie, hello.
Hi
Can you,
everybody.
hi. Can you
Yeah, my
introduce yourself?
name
Yeah.
is Goldie, and to give you a background on me, I started my career as an engineer. I was working as a civil engineer, and I was working on the reconstruction of the World Trade Center Transit Hub down in Lower Manhattan. I'm from New York originally. I did that for a handful of years, and I felt stifled. I felt like I wanted to understand the business world, the markets, what, really moves the world from that perspective. So I went to business school. I got my MBA. Coming out of business school, I was an investment banker. So I was working on Wall Street and then I worked in London and San Francisco. I loved the work I was doing, but I hated the culture and the 20-hour work days. They really are super long. And so from there, I moved to I was living in San Francisco at the time. I moved to working for a tech company. So I was working for a high tech company in a finance quantitative role. And most recently, I was working for Salesforce. And if you've heard of it, it's a big high tech company. And I was just so unhappy. I had everything. I did everything right. I went to all of the good schools. I had a super high paying job and everything, but I was just so incredibly miserable. And in my story, I transitioned, numerous times. And it's because I'd be happy, I'd get a new job, I'd be super happy. And then a year later, it kind of wear off and I'd be upset. And then I'd move to the next thing and I'd be super happy for a year. And then it'd wear off and I'd move to the next thing. And so in my last role, at that point, also, I'm a mom. I have two young kids. And at that time, I just had my second child. And just thinking to myself, how much longer can I do this? How much longer can I be miserable, get a new job, be happy, then be miserable again? I just was like on this cycle of being super miserable. And I like hit a point where it was really, like a downtime in my life. I was just super unhappy. And it's like, well, something needs to change drastically. It's not just getting another similar job, And I'd always been thinking of real estate. I always knew I wanted to be a real estate investor. I always knew I wanted to be an investor, even outside of real estate. And I had been following Pollock on Instagram for like years at that point, probably like 5 years. And it just kind of clicks that like something needs to change. And so I took that leap of faith and joined Open Spaces. And now I'm a full-time investor. So I've left corporate and now I'm happy. I found, what I'm looking for. And I also love that in real estate, it's very dynamic. So I like obviously get bored very easily, as you could see with my job progression. And I love that there's so much I could do. I was listening to a podcast this morning on flipping. It's like, okay, well, when I get bored of birds, I'm not bored yet, but when I do, I could flip. Or when I get bored of the market I'm in, I could go to a new market. Or when I get bored of single families, I could go up to multifamilies. And I love that there's so much variety within this. And so, yeah, that's some background on me. My portfolio right now is 8 properties. I think on the last call I said 9 because I get confused of, keeping track. And I was under contract with the 9th, but then dropped it. But anyways, I have 8 properties and my ARV is 1.75 million.
God, that is amazing. You guys, so not high achievers at all on this call today. You just like to take it easy, not do a lot. I get it. That's amazing, both of you. Okay, so I wrote down a couple things about what you said, and I just wanted to talk about it. One thing you said, Goldie, was so interesting. You said that you went from being an engineer working on the World Trade Center to then getting an MBA and then becoming an investment banker. And those two are, you like basically already did your second career before moving into real estate. And you tried a different career, you tried different jobs. And I think it's so interesting because for high achievers, it's just the job, it's just never enough. And it's not even about the money. I mean, we love money, but it's not even about the money. It's about really feeling stifled and confined. And it makes you so miserable because you can't really tap into yourself. I wonder if, along with the freedom and the flexibility and the ability to build wealth, I wonder if working for yourself has also allowed you to like really tap into who you are, or at least given you the ability to do that. At least that's what it was for me. I didn't know, only in hindsight do I realize that the high and the joy of like finding that new job and that excitement wears off. But then when you work for yourself, it never wears off because you can challenge yourself and go, like you said, you can go and flip, and you can go and all the people who are in the portfolio program, at some point, they also start thinking like, what else can I do? Even outside of real estate. So that's also an opportunity waiting for you. So I'm just curious to know, is that something that you can relate to, or have you thought about it that way? Whether your unhappiness wasn't just freedom and flexibility and wealth, but it was also really exploring what you're made of.
Yeah, I'd agree with that wholeheartedly. I can't think of any examples to prove it, but yeah, to be able to move in the direction I want to on any given day or any different project versus being, stifled in what's expected of me or what my manager wants. I get to do what I want.
Yeah, and it doesn't stem from, oh, Vibha, were you going to say something? Go ahead. What do you think?
No, go ahead, Pala, complete your thought.
I forgot now. Go ahead. I want to hear what you have to say.
Well, that is so true. Like joining here, this 1 year, 3 months has been a journey even internally, right? It kind of questioned me. What is it? Yes, I wanted to do real estate. Yes, I wanted it to be a passive income, but when you actually get into it, there is just so many variables. It challenges you, and this is your business. So you internalize, and I think I learned a lot about myself, my strengths, and also my setbacks, right? And now once you've identified what some of your setbacks are, and then you can kind of work towards overcoming it, right? So I can give you a quick example on that.
Yeah.
So I kind of, what I meant by that is like, I realize I'm a very sequential person. So I'm always caught into this analysis paralysis. And that is also maybe because a part of my background, right? We do a lot of analysis, but this industry needs you to take action. Yes, you can get your information, but you need to take that informed action. So that is something I had to work towards, overcome it, and say, all right, we go ahead, we know what we know, but go ahead and put that offer. Right. So that's one example that I want to call out. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. How did you get over that hurdle of being in of dwelling
The
in analysis paralysis versus
it To be very honest, it's this community, right? Because you're seeing, I mean, you're learning from all the people. You understand how they are overcoming, and then you take back some notes to yourself and say, like, okay, we know what we know. Let's move forward. Like, let's go ahead and put that offer and things like that. So, I think I can, and I'll state more examples, but this community is when you come back here each week, take some notes, have your accountability calls, and then you learn that, okay, we know what we know. Let's go ahead and put that offer. Okay, you've spoken to a couple of lenders. Okay, now let's go ahead and decide on one and let's take action and move to the next and the next, right? And if I had to do this on my own sweet time, at some point I would have dropped the ball, and that's happened to me. I mean, like I said, I've been wanting to do this over 8 years, and if not more. We had the capital. It's not like we didn't have. We had the capital, but we were not able to go ahead and take action and
yes.
take yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Positive peer pressure. It's
True.
right. We can be inspired and root for other people, but at the same time get excited to do the same thing. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. It's a great thing to put that. We should name it something like PQ or something, positive peer pressure or something. It really does help to see other people do it, because we don't come from families where we constantly see people taking action and taking risks and doing things that are uncomfortable. So we need that environment to normalize it for us, right? And then you feel like, wait, maybe I can do this too. So I love that you said that. Yeah, that is so cool. Okay, so let's start with why real estate? Whoever wants to go first, why did you narrow down real estate as your...
Yeah, it goes, I mean, just jumping, it goes way back, right? Again, these are back from India days. I remember, so there's a lot of things that comes through us. I remember, like, I would take my grandmother in my two-wheeler moped and to go and collect the rent checks, and at that time,
Oh,
or rent cash. So,
yes. Wait,
even
what moped did you drive? I need to know.
I had a scooty,
Oh,
TVS
you had a
scooty.
scooty. Okay. So you
I
guys,
think
for
I'm
those of
dating
you,
myself.
yeah, for those of you who don't know this, we used to have like three main ones. Luna. My mom had a Luna for many, many years.
Yes.
And then there was Scooty and there was Kinetic.
Yes,
That's what
yes,
we used to.
TVS,
And
It's
yes.
the
like they
and
all...
yeah,
What?
and the Bajaj Chetak.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ravi is saying Bajaj Chetak. Yes. Yeah, the one then when they don't start, you have to tilt them.
I have
And
dealt
kick
with
it
this
and
all of these as well.
Wait.
yes.
There's some people talking and I can't see them. What do you say, Jatinder? What do you say?
I said I also had that as well, and I have seen all the
Yeah.
vehicles. I had some exposure to kind of every four vehicle that we discussed.
And helmet? What helmet? Come on.
I know.
Yeah, my dad was in police, so I don't need helmet in my city,
Oh,
and
your
it
dad
used to.
was in
Yeah,
police.
it was a small city, and we didn't have much problems, I can say.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Recently, yeah, they just started looking for helmet, but when we were like young, there were no requirement for helmets.
Yeah.
So we bought.
That's nice.
I think,
Sorry for
yeah,
that
so
sidetracking us, but yeah. So you used to drive
so I
your
used to take
grandmother.
her but in reality, what I understood was the financial strength my grandmother was, see, back then 65, 70, right? She was not earning, she didn't have any W-2, but whatever that little money she would get as rent would just give her that confidence to kind of, have it her way and run the show and things like that. So, and Palak, we come here with literally two suitcases, as we leave everything back home. We come in the flight, we come with two suitcases, and here you're starting off your journey. I always had that scarcity mindset. What if, my next paycheck doesn't come? I cannot call home and ask for, can you transfer some funds, right? I mean, that was you leave home, you come here, you kind of you need to figure it out. So I always, and I think I still do. I still have that scarcity mindset. For me, right now, even $20 is still, it still has the value, like when I had back in 2008, right?
Yes.
Anyway, so I think that was the seed of why real estate. So even when I came here, I rented out an apartment as a student, and I saw, hey, this was good. Old professors were collecting the rent paychecks, right? And their retirement was secured. So the seed was sown there, and it still continues. And now here we are, like, and that's my journey. Yeah.
Yeah. And no joke about the two suitcases, you guys. For those of you who don't know this, like you pack these two suitcases, and years ago, you bought these phone cards, and you called anybody from a different country. Like you bought these phone cards, and they were $5 for 15 minutes, and you got to call home 15 minutes. And and if like that card didn't work, because some of them were fried, if that didn't work, you don't talk to your family for another week because you could only afford like five. I know so many people who have this story, right? So, so, and the suitcase, you're supposed to bring everything that you will need. So people would give you a list like underwear, one pan in case you can't find a ride to go to a store to buy a pan. And like you make a plan, make a list. And then when you get to the airport and they weigh your suitcase, because you don't come from money, if it goes above the weight limit, you don't just pay that extra thing. You open it in the middle of the airport and you're like, you know what? I don't need this pan. Mom, can you take the pan? I'm good. I'm gonna do without it. I'll boil my noodles in the microwave in a cup. Just so it's no joke, the whole two suitcase thing. So I know some of you have immigrant parents or grandparents. Um, I I feel like their lives were much more difficult because when we came here as immigrants, we had the internet. Like we grew
Yes.
up, we watched Home Alone, we watched, MT, like everything. We watched Friends. So, so because of the internet and globalization, the newer immigrants have had it much easier. And I'm just telling you these stories like if your parents and grandparents have scarcity mindset, there's a reason for that. Like they went through a lot of trauma coming here. Some of them came on an actual boat, right? So
Yeah.
that must not have been easy. Anyway, so okay, I'm gonna go to Goldie. Goldie, tell us how did you get started? Why real estate? How did you get into real estate?
Yeah, well, I feel the same way about you with negotiating with myself. It's something I struggle with. Okay. So I made a list, 3 reasons, right? So the first one, from an analytical perspective,
Yeah.
we know that landlords are wealthy. We know some of the wealthiest people made their money in real estate. Like everybody knows that, right? Right. So why not number or part of number one? And then another is that, so working in investment banking, right? There's 2 types of income, right? In one sense, there's recurring revenue and there is one-time revenue, right? And so when you flip, you make the money, that's good. But then you need to like kind of start from scratch for your second one with being a landlord and having the rent each month. It's recurring. You set it up and then you get the money each month. And we know there's like a lot of work, there's tenant turnover and stuff like that. But the recurring and long-term nature of it, it's kind of a no-brainer. And then number two is diversifying assets. So before even joining, I was like an investor in another sense. So I'm invested in like stocks and crypto and different things. And then it came to the point where we realized, well, let's diversify, right? There's a primary residence is good, but it's not really, is it an asset? Is it really a liability, right? If you've read like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, they say how it's more of a liability, right? And that, there's nuances there. But so to diversify was number two. And then number three, just kind of like in my gut, I've always wanted to be a real estate investor. I remember when I was in my early 20s living in New York City, I'd go to like open houses for like the cheapest properties in Manhattan, right? But there was like $200,000. And I was like, oh yeah, I could rent this out. What would the rents be? So that's like, and that's more than a decade ago. I was, like I wanted to do it, but kind of stuck in that place where it's like people like me don't do that, right? Like that would be great for somebody who's rich or knows how to do it. But like, but I've always, always wanted to. And I found my wedding vows. I was cleaning out my closet and I found my wedding vows from 2019 and I was reading it. And in it, I was like, together, we're going to become real estate moguls. But like I was writing about this years ago, but I didn't take action, right? So I think so my third reason is just like the gut. I've always wanted to. I've always loved real estate. I love, like going to open houses and looking at stuff on Zillow just because it's so beautiful. So a lot of good analytical reasons, but also in my gut, it's just something I've always wanted to do and really appreciate. And now I look at Zillow listings. The other day I was looking at like multi-million-dollar Zillow listings near me to look at bathroom decor for my renovation, even though my rental property costs like the ARV is 200 grand, not like 2 million. But I was looking and I got to scroll through. I was like, oh, this is so fun. Now I get to scroll through these Zillow listings of these beautiful homes and call it work.
Yes.
But before I would do it and be like, oh, I'm wasting my time. There's something better I could do now. It's work. And I love it.
That's too funny. That's right. It's work to look at real estate, beautiful properties and real estate listings. Yes. That's so interesting that you wrote it in your wedding vows and years later you realize that unknowingly you have made it a possibility.
Yeah, wait, I have another story there also. When I was talking to my husband about buying the course, I was a little, like nervous about the price tag. And I was like, oh, should I do it? And my husband, so he's not in this with me. He has a full-time job. He does his stuff and I do this by myself. And he's like, yes, you should do it because I'm tired of you talking about real estate and not doing anything. Take the course and actually do it. I'm sick of hearing you talk about it and not take action. So that's how he got on board with the price tag.
I love it. Yes. And that's a good spouse / partner who backs you up. Like, you really want to do this. I am not interested in it, but you need to do it because that's what you want to do. And I'm gonna make sure you do it. So I love that. That's so great. That's too funny though, that he was like, just get it over with. So you can stop talking about it and actually do it. So now do you talk to him about real estate? Both of you, who do you talk to about real estate outside of this group?
Or you could go
I think
first
it's
for
my
that.
husband. And like Goldie, I mean, he's very supportive and he's also hands-on, but behind the scenes. His W2 is, all consuming and he cannot compartmentalize. I think I'm maybe a little better with that. So I was like, okay, I'll do it. But talking to vendors, doing some paperwork, that's something he does behind, he does it. He does the groundwork as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And for me, my husband, the way we do things, we realize we don't work well like together. Like we probably couldn't be business partners. That wouldn't work well for our marriage. But we view each other as like, he's kind of like on my board, for example. So when I have like a big issue, I'll talk to him about it. And vice versa with his work. And he's like, trying to start a business on the side also. And because he's not in the weeds, he's able to see things clearer. While if he was actually working with me, he might not see it as clearly. So a couple of months ago, I was under contract with a house. And I was just like, I don't know if this home is a good idea. The crawl space was really low. And there were other like big issues that it's not like something I could fix. And it's like, is this a good investment? The numbers are right. Or would this be a bad property to, inherit those issues? And I was talking to him about, he's like, it sounds like you should drop it. And I was emotionally invested because I had spent the last few days, like talking to the inspector and this and the other. He wasn't, right? And so because he had a clearer head, he was able to see the forest from the trees and give me that advice. And I do that for him. So my husband, but like from afar, right?
Yes.
And my accountability group here, it's amazing. We talk, we were just texting this morning. And so really the open spaces community, like to find my people that I could get in the weeds with,
Yeah.
my questions and everything.
That's fabulous. I'm going to ask you guys about your first properties. I just want the story. Like, how'd you get your first deal? Who wants to go? Goldie, do you want to go since you were talking already?
I could go first. Really boring, honestly. On an MLS deal. I'm
It's
trying to
just an
think.
MLS deal.
Yeah,
How'd you
an
find
MLS
your
deal.
realtor?
What?
Who brought you the deal? Did you find the deal and then contact the realtor, or did your agent
I
bring
don't
you?
remember, to be honest. I think so. I will
I have
say in
so
the
many.
beginning,
I don't remember.
yeah. In the beginning, I remember you talked about this like in one of the modules or maybe one of these calls that in the beginning, I probably found that I was doing most of the work.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of like, I know my realtor is really good and he's fantastic, but other people talk about their realtors bringing them deals. Now he brings me deals because now he knows I'm a serious buyer. I could buy multiple. So like if anybody's just starting out, know that it gets better as you build relationships with people because they know you're serious and they'll hand you the deals first before other people. So I don't remember. I think I found it. I do remember though when I got the text from my realtor saying that they accepted my offer. Like I remember I was at the doctor with my daughter. Like that was such a memorable moment because it, was the first time they accepted my offer. And we went forward with it. I don't know, how much detail do you want about this first deal?
Whatever you want. We want to hear everything.
I don't know. I feel like it's
Wasn't as
pretty,
exciting?
yeah, wasn't that exciting, but
Yeah.
it's a good deal.
Yeah.
I've had a great tenant, and the tenants actually, they've been in there for a year. They're moving out now, so it's my first tenant turnover. So I'm really nervous. I was really nervous about tenant turnover. So I obviously didn't want the tenant to move out, but a part of me is happy they are, so I could just do it. So I'm not nervous about the tenant turnover process, but it went to service a year ago, and now they're about to move out, looking for the new tenant.
And Goldie, just for everybody who doesn't know you, where do you live and where do you invest?
Yeah, I live in South Florida and I invest in Jacksonville.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Mhm.
And how much was your first deal? How much did you buy it for?
Yeah, I bought it for 108,000 and I renovated, I think it was 40K and then it ARV'd for 200.
What? That was just your first deal.
Yeah.
Wow.
I
So
had
how
good
much?
economics. I left like 10,000 in the deal on that one. But
What?
now,
No.
I'm working on taxes and with the cost seg study, I'm going to get more than 10K back on my taxes. So that was not a perfect burr, but if you include the tax benefit, it is then some.
Yes. I tell people like, I'll talk in a second about leaving money in the deal because you got that from me and that's my bad. So all of you got that from me, and that's how you guys talk about it, and I am to blame for it. I'm going to talk about it in a second. But I always tell people like if you think about paying for this mentorship program, you'll get that much back in taxes. Like don't even worry about it. You don't even have to worry about it. But let me talk about leaving money in the deal, and then I'm going to go to Vibha. So she bought the property for 108 and put in another 40K in it. That's 148. And it ARV'd when she was done, it was worth 200K.
Yeah, well, I also had soft costs.
How much soft cost do you think?
It was 11K. I paid with
11K.
cash, so it was lower than obviously.
So subtracting
500.
another 11K from it, she made $41,000 on that deal, you guys. 108 plus 40 plus 11. That's how much she put in, and it's worth 200K now, right? So she made $41,000 on the property. And you know how you guys talk about this? And it's my bad and I'm to blame. I left 10,000 in the deal as if it's a loss. You learned that from me, and that's my bad, but I want the best for you. That's why we talk like that. But you
Yeah,
made
and I'll take
41
it
grand.
one step further.
Yeah.
So the forced equity is 40K, right? And then I like to look at like pre-tax, post-tax. If to make 40K in my W-2, I'd have to make a certain amount, get taxed, and
Yes.
then I'd be left with 40K. So like obviously everybody's tax situation is different, but I'd have to make like 60K in my W-2.
Right.
They'll
To make
take
40, to
20K from
actually get
taxes,
40K.
and then I'd be left with 40K that I can invest, I don't know, in the stock market and in an investment. So here I have 40K in equity, but it's the equivalent as if I made 60K right there in that one deal. Because when we talk about our W-2, we use pre-tax dollars, right? If you're
Yeah.
saying I make 100K in my W-2, nobody's saying, oh, but like I only came home with 80, right? You talk about your pre-tax dollars, right? But when we talk equity with our homes, we talk post, it's not tax. So it's essentially post-tax dollars, right? So the way I like to think about it, maybe I'm overcompensating because I don't have a W-2 right
No,
now,
you
but I
are
have
so
40K in
right.
equity, but I would have to make 60K in my W-2 to come home with 40K
Yes.
to invest.
Plus the 10K in tax savings, that's 70K.
Yeah.
So you not only did not have to pay taxes on the 40K, you're getting an additional 10K back in your tax returns. So
Mhm.
40
After
is
tax money,
actually
untaxed money, right? So that 10K again, if I were to get like a bonus for my W-2, it'd have to be 15K for me to actually get $10,000 in cash to bring home to my family, right?
that's it. We can all go home now. This is it.
That's
Yeah.
it.
This is it. This is the mic drop. You are so right. I mean, you're talking to a bunch of real estate geeks here, and this is the best thing I've heard today. That's it. I'm done.
Hmm.
No, I'm not done. But that's amazing. So I love this. So 40K is actually 60K because we don't pay taxes on it. So that's 60K plus 10K tax returns, which is actually 15K because we don't pay taxes on it. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And
And
so
that's only
instead
one
of
deal. Only one.
and one deal, and that's
Yeah.
75K, but you know how we talk about, and that's freaking my bad. We say, instead of saying I made 75K on this deal, we say I left 10K in the deal. What is wrong with us, you guys? Come on. This is my
Mhm.
bad. I own it. Um, it's amazing. Thank you, Goldie. That's so good. Viba, what
That's
about you? What
awesome.
about your deal? Tell me,
All
tell
right. So
us.
my experience to get to my first deal is different, and I'll call it hard because there are many new investors in this conversation, right? For the longest time, I wanted to invest in my backyard. I wanted to oh, I'm from Atlanta. Let me identify these neighborhoods within Atlanta, and started down the process. Soon I realized, see, Atlanta is for super seasoned investors. They are like folks walking in with cash, no contingency, and we are just not at that level to take that kind of risk. And out of state was, I mean, how will I go? How can I trust someone to go and check it out and actually make it work? It was this
Feels
group. It
hard
was
enough
the
to feels hard enough to do it in your own backyard, right?
own,
Like, yeah.
exactly. So I think that is one, I had to break out of that. And it was the accountability. It was this panel, and of course the accountability group, and few members who were just moving forward. And I was like, I just picked, okay, let's pick Cleveland, let's pick Ohio, and let's make some introduction. I got some great introduction, Bharat Cheryl, got some introductions, and then said, okay, let's just move forward. And it worked out. And some of these are very investor friendly, which itself is a great benefit. And very professional. They're used to working with out of state investors. So even the questions which I thought were awkward to ask was normal and natural to them. Will you be able to send me pictures and this and all this stuff? So it took some time for me to get into the first contract. And when I joined this program, right, I was like, oh, I thought I'll go aggressive. I'll do one deal. Ravi will do one deal, and then we'll just multiply. But like I said, there was a lot of self-learning too. We had to overcome. We had to break our own barriers and shift courses and take those decisions. but ultimately it landed well. So just wanted to give you some numbers. Right.
Yes.
So the first one, the buy price was 104,000. We put in about 24,000 in renovation. And
Wait,
the
100 what? I'm
ARV,
sorry.
100, the buy price was 104,000.
104. Okay.
Okay. The rehab was about 24,000.
Okay.
And the ARV is right now 160,000. And just wanted, I just
Wow.
want,
You two are incredible. This is so good.
it
So
went like this.
128 is, and did you have some soft costs? Should we add some soft costs to that?
Yes. Say 10%, so say 10,000, something. Yeah.
10,000. Okay. So we'll say you're all in, you're at 138 and an ARV at what? What's it worth?
160, 160.
160.
Yeah, 160.
I love it. It's so good. And I'm gonna use Goldie's method now. That's it. That's how I'm doing it every time. We're coining it the Goldie method of calculating the profit on a BRRRR deal.
Mhm.
It's so good. So 22K is the difference. That's how much you made in equity on this is the first deal. First deal.
First team.
Probably the same as actually making what 30K, just rounding it off.
Mhm.
Goldie smiling. And then have you filed taxes since?
No, we're working towards it.
We're gonna find
Yes.
out. Ooh,
Yeah.
it's gonna be so good.
Yes. Just
Are you?
wanted to go
Yeah,
ahead.
finish your thought.
Yeah, no, I just saw Cheryl. So the Cleveland community, right? I remember Cheryl put in a message in our accountability group saying, "Hey, I'm in Cleveland. Tell me if you all want me to go run by your property." And that, and I was like, Cheryl, here's the address. The offer is accepted, and she did. She did do. She did drive by the property. She checked out the area. She said, Vibha, the location is good, and she took some pictures from outside and. I just want to call out what this community can, can lean in and do that, for you as well. So,
Oh my
I-
God.
so yes,
That is so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. That is amazing.
absolutely.
And it's it's such a great thing for a new investor to hear. I'm so glad you said that you wanted to say it, especially for new investors. This is gold because we think that we're in this alone, even within this community, but there is so much support here that you can't even think about when you're not doing this. And can I just spotlight Cheryl for a second? That's so great, Cheryl. I've known you guys know this, right? Cheryl and I have known each other for a decade now,
Forever. Yes, a long time.
forever. And everything she's ever said she would do, she's always done, except for herself. For
Oh.
others, if she commits to something, she will always do it.
And I was so thrilled that I could see your home, Viva. Like, I don't know if you've seen it, but I've seen it. It's a great neighborhood. And yeah, good job. Like, really good job.
That's so sweet, Cheryl. That's awesome.
Yeah, I have something to add there. I should have said with my first deal that all of my vendors I essentially got from the open spaces community. I was looking for a realtor. I worked with like I was looking, on on Zillow to see who had sales and stuff. And I was working with this one guy and he sucked. Like he was really bad. And so I posted, we have a Jacksonville WhatsApp group, right? Open Spaces WhatsApp group. And I posted, and I owe so much to Eileen Moore, our like famous, helper. She suggested a realtor that I'm working with now. He's amazing, right? And then he suggested vendors, and Eileen suggested more vendors. And like every single vendor I work with now is either rec from the open spaces community or like that person's rec. And I had an accountability partner at the time, and uh she was looking for a contractor in Jacksonville, and I suggested one, right, that the realtor had suggested. So she was working with him. And then I had my house under contract, and I had to, like, I bought the house and then I need to pay him. And it was like a $30,000 30% deposit, so $10,000. I'm sitting here, I'm like, I'm just going to wire this person $10,000. Like I felt so uncomfortable. And so I texted my accountability partner because she had been working with him for weeks. And I was like, is he legit? Like, how's it been going? Did he run away with your money? And she's like, no, it's good. And just like the power of community, because for a lot of us in analysis paralysis, you get this, you have vendors and they're like, okay, wire me $10,000. And, I'm long distance. I've never met this guy in person. He can run away with my money. $10,000 would be a lot of money for somebody to just take and run, and just like the power of community that, we're all helping each other out. We're all, with vendors, and also picking vendors like my leasing agent, somebody Eileen had worked with and other people had worked with. So I had so much trust. And it helped me because in the beginning, it's very scary. You don't know these people. You don't know if they're going to do a bad job. You don't know if they're going to like have parties in your house when you're not there. Like you don't know. And your mind goes in these crazy directions. And so the power of community, and everybody's so helpful. And like the more you help other people, the more it comes around to you. And I wouldn't be where I am without all of you guys and without Eileen, especially.
That's amazing. We'll have to tag Eileen and under this video when we post it, so she knows you gave her a shout out. That's lovely. I think that there is a lot more to a community than even I sometimes realize. Like, we just love you guys and, we want you guys to have all the support, but there are so many unexpected advantages that we've run this mentorship community for 8 years now. And over the years, I have realized that now vendors, they know that they'll hear from us if the group consistently has issues. And so the power of being a group and knowing that they will lose the business if they don't provide a good service to this community, I hadn't even considered that as one of the advantages of building this for you guys. Like, that was like one thing. And it happens all the time. Someone that we recommend, this is Icons, very recently, somebody that we had recommended in Icons, we got the feedback that their service was 80%, 70% wasn't there. And so we reached out and they wrote us a very long response saying, we're sorry, this is what we're doing to rectify the situation. Like, we would never, we appreciate that this community is full of legit investors and right. And so there's so much power in doing this together that all these things you talked about, sometimes it's hard to fathom when you haven't even started all the questions that you're going to run into. Not only were you wondering if that person's going to run away with your money, sometimes we don't even know what's standard practice in the industry. And I'll tell you, we've built multiple 7-figure businesses, and in every new business, you go in and you're asked to pay for something, and you don't know if it's industry standard or not. Or you're asked to be, how do I give a very general example? Or a practice, like an SOP that somebody wants you to follow so you can work with them, and you don't know whether you can question it or not. Like, for example, we talk about leaving the title open. There are so many things we talk about, or like giving the appraiser the appraisal packet. You don't know if it's okay or not. You don't know if it's standard practice or not. And those tweaks can make a difference of thousands of dollars. So really glad we're talking about this. It's so good. I'm going to ask you this question, Vibha. You said you joined and you already had a few properties, and then you joined the program. So why look for mentorship and a community when you've already bought a few properties? I know why. And I know that when we first started, like the first 3 or 4 or 5 properties, we were just kind of winging it while we were defining the process and building the framework. And so I understand why. I want to know, like, what were the pain points that you were running into that made you reach out and find support?
One of the things, and Palak and others as well, right? To see, traditionally, the real estate is emotion, right? Whatever you learn is just a version of whatever was available to you at that given point. So we were just doing the traditional way, saving up to 25% of the down payment and then going to a property that was open and asking these questions to a real estate agent who puts in her, whatever works for her, she puts in her strategy to you and wants you to take it on. And that's how we acquired the first rental property. And the second rental property was more like we were moving from our townhome to our single family home. So we just held our townhome and then rented it, right? Um, so we, and my husband Ravi, they're very conservative, very risk averse. So I was like, if every time if you're trying to save 500 here, and come up with that pool of this is not going to work, So honestly, a couple of years ago, my goal was, oh, if we make 10 rental properties in our lifetime, that's good. That was a big goal.
Yeah.
That
That
was a
seems
big
like a
goal.
big goal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a very big goal, saving up to 25% and paying them off. So the whole idea of how can you scale, this cannot be the trajectory. It was just your income is only your income. Once you have kids, your expenses are always, growing by the day. So then, as always, when you are thinking through something, Instagram listens to you, and and I came across Palak's video, and I was like, oh, this is everything that I resonate with. And I just given birth to my second kid, and like this is something I was like, Ravi, we need to see this, and it was me like saying like, and a huge part of it is like you are also a woman, trying to scale up. So I think that and I started following you, and I just like kept, and I even picked up your book. I was like, okay, before I joined the program, I bought your book and made sure I went through the book. And all the good stuff. So I think my journey started there. Once my second one was around, I think a year and a half, two, and I could be a little mobile. That's when we decided, okay, we'll invest in the program, in the thing. And I don't know if it's a woman, man, irrespective, for us, community is a huge part of it, right? Otherwise, we are in this bubble. So I was like, this mentorship, we said, okay, this is something I needed. And like Goldie, I think it was my husband also like, okay, we've been speaking, this is legit, go for it, let's go for it. And here we are. So that's the reason why we turned into this community. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
10 properties seemed like so much when you first started. So how do you
Yes.
see it now?
So now, to your point, now I'm like thinking about I'm using these terms and I find it amusing myself. Oh, my portfolio! I want to convert this into a portfolio loan. I'm like, what? Vibha would never be thinking on those lines 6 months ago. But now it's a feasibility, and I could for sure why not? Why not build a community, go into this builder loans and so on. So we are learning, we are setting our bases here. So to me, honestly, 10 was a big, but now I'm like, okay, the end of 1 year, end of 2 years, we need to scale to 10 properties, and this space is making that happen. That's awesome.
Yeah. So 10 in your lifetime went to 10 in the next in
Yeah.
2 years.
2
Yeah.
years, 1 to 2.
I love it. I love that you said like Vibha, what are you talking about? Yes,
Sure.
you're truly feeling like an investor now, and I love that. And see that I know we talk about mindset a lot. There is mindset involved in it, but there's no such thing as actually putting it into practice, and the confidence you gain from that is just unshakable. So you've actually made it happen, and that's what's giving you this like very quiet confidence. You're confident about it, but it's just very natural. That's so great. So what's your big goal now, Vibha?
Scaling, truly scaling. Right now, I've identified now, okay, want to build a portfolio in Cleveland and also shift to a different location. Yeah, I think that's the key thing. Just let's scale, let's build in some systems. And some of this comes from even my consulting background, right? What we train or whatever we consult to our clients is something I want to consult to myself and my business, at least at this phase, to scale and grow. I just want to take, this is something I shared with Danny, and I want to share with the whole group on what this portfolio program means to me. Last year, June, I was let go from my last company, which whom I worked for 11 years. Right. So you spent 11 years with the company, started from an analyst, grown up to a senior manager and all that good stuff. But, just with the environment, I was asked to let go. The only reason I didn't hit my, low was because of this space, this program, this business, this idea that I had, this plan that I was working on the side, saying like, hey, I have, I have a backup plan, or I have an alternative path. It's not like my world has come crashing, or, I was able to shift and pivot and stand tall in that moment. And I remember that drive coming back from my work back home, and I was able to lift my head and keep it up high. And it was all because of, I think, this group and this space and this path, which I also started taking right earlier in the year. So, just wanted to call it out.
Yeah, I'm so glad you mentioned that. That's such an amazing way to think about it. And I've told you guys this before. In my grandmother's time, in maybe even our parents' time, they could live a small life and be safe. They could have a small job somewhere, a tiny business. They would be fine. They could do that for the rest of their lives. They would be happy. They just have to, keep their needs low, live frugally. They'll be fine. And we were, let me know if you can relate to this, but we were all taught these lessons of contentment growing up. Like, oh, be content with what you have. Stop always wanting more. And that was safety. But the way the economy is right now, the way the world is right now, you don't want to put your future in the hands of one individual, your manager. You can't be doing that, because staying small no longer means staying safe. It doesn't work like that. You need multiple streams of income. You need a backup plan. And you're the living example of that, not only financially, but also your confidence, your mental health, how you see yourself, your identity wasn't shaken because I have worked in corporate for 17 years before all of this happened, and I've gotten laid off, and it really shakes your belief in yourself up. Like, what does that mean? Why not? Why was I let go? And having this, what you're really capable of now and what you can achieve. So even outside of finances, I'm so glad you mentioned that. You articulated it so well. I could have not even said it that well. So good. Thank you, Vibha, for sharing that.
Thank you all. Yeah.
It's so good. And then I want to ask Goldie a question. So you said you followed, I wrote it down here because I thought it was so interesting. You said you followed me for 5 years on Instagram. In the very beginning, you said that. I was
Why are you
amused by
laughing? You're
that.
so inspirational. Of course I did.
I was so
Even
amused.
now, I'll get your stuff as ads, and I get so inspired, and I'm like, I have access to you. I don't need to get inspired by your Instagram anymore, but it's really good. It still catches me and inspires me, and I'm like, oh, I should spend more time with her because you're still so inspiring. So don't laugh. There's a reason I was following you for so many years.
So one, sorry. I mean, I was laughing because it amused me, because sometimes I forget I've been doing this for almost a decade. And you said you followed me for 5 years, and now you have, 8 properties after that. And so that's like just aging me over here. Thank you for that, Goldie. But why why did you wait 5 years to do this?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know. Part of me wants to say the price tag, but I never even like took the next step to see how
You
much it
never even
cost.
knew.
I didn't
But
even know how much it
maybe you
cost.
had a feeling that it was going to be a
Yeah,
lot.
I and that's a really good question. I think I was just kind of stuck in 2019. So I graduated business school. So I think I started following you in 2019. I graduated business school in 2017. And I think it's just kind of like, that programming. Like
Yeah.
I went to like a great business school. I had a great job. Like, why would I do this like side random course on Instagram, right? Like I had this track, I was doing everything right. I think that was it. It's just kind of like the programming of like I was doing all the right things. I had a great job, great benefits. I was saving up for retirement,
Yeah.
like, but at the same time, I was still like modeling out real estate deals like on Excel. I was an investment banker, right? So I'm like an Excel, that's my thing, right? That's what lights me up. That's my hobby. And I was modeling out. We had bought our first place at the time, a condo in San Francisco. And I was modeling out like, oh, when we move out, we'll rent it out. And then we'll make like this much. That like, I don't know, because I was doing the math and like thinking about it, but it was just one of these things where it's like, I want to do it, but I guess just like the programming, right? Just like stay on this good path.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that like goes hand in hand with like how my husband, when I brought it up to him, he's like, yes, just do it. I've listened to
Mm-hmm.
you talk about this for years. Just do it. That I guess I just needed somebody else to give me like the kick in the butt. And my husband had bought courses before that were like a similar price tag for like businesses that he wanted to start. So I think had he not done that, it would have been like, what? How could I spend this money? But since he had done that,
Oh,
like gave me permission that if he's spending our money on his courses, I could spend my money on my course.
yeah.
But I don't have a good answer, I guess. I
Yeah. I was
just
just
like that
very curious.
programming of like,
Yeah.
why would I do this?
Yeah.
Um,
Because
but
every
then I
month,
did, and I'm so happy I did.
I'm so happy you did. You both did. But every month we'll get 1 or 2 people join us, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, I read about Paula like 6 years ago," and I'm like, "What? What is happening? Like, what is the thing that kind of clicks us into action?"
You
And
know what? Actually, I do remember. So I was following somebody else on Instagram. She's like a lifestyle influencer, and she has an Airbnb, one, as far as I know, I don't know personally, like one Airbnb in like Pensacola. And she tagged you guys saying, like, thank you for giving me the confidence to buy this. And like I
oh,
clicked on it, I was like, I've been following her. Like I know this. So I think it was like somebody else that I
oh,
like trusted on the internet, even though I don't know them personally.
interesting.
She mentioned you.
Yeah.
And I think that gave me like the
Mm.
confidence to like take the step forward because it was more
Oh, yeah.
somebody I trusted talked about you. So like
Oh,
pulled
that's
it together.
interesting.
But still, after she said that, I think I still waited like at least 6 months to
Yeah.
really, you know. And sometimes I'll say, like, I shared how I was so unhappy at work. And I was just like talking to my husband about it, like reflecting. Sometimes things need to break to get fixed. Like, because before that, I was, unhappy, but happy enough. And then I hit a point where I was just so unhappy that, like, everything was broken and it was affecting my mental health and it was affecting everything. And it broke just enough that, like, I needed to, I hit the point, it's like, I can't just get another corporate job and, like, do this cycle again and then be miserable again in 2 years. That, like, it broke just enough, like, broke really badly that I was like, I need to do something different.
Yeah.
And which is a good thing in retrospect. Like I'm so happy that I hit that like rock bottom place so I could rebuild.
Yes. And all the most amazing things have happened after a dip for me because it forces you to look deeper into the current circumstances and change something. And we're we're all pretty privileged. And so it's hard to really change something because when you are comfortable enough, so we need that kick in the pants too. Is that a word, Cheryl? Is that a phrase? Is that okay? Cheryl said yes. I always look at her like, is that the right phrase? Sometimes we need that to truly make a change. So I love that. Um, I'm experimenting with TikTok, you guys. Like we have 120 some thousand followers on Instagram, and just side note, if you're not following me on TikTok and if you want to take a look at all the different things we're trying, I think it's Open Spaces Academy or Open Spaces Women. I don't even know what the handle is, but check it out. We have like 2,500 followers, and I gained 1,500 of them just in the last week because of one video. So check it out. I love short form content. So I'm glad you are enjoying it. It's a creative outlet for me, okay? Creating short form content, it's a challenge for me. I make a challenge like for myself, like how can I communicate like on these calls, I go, you guys are my people, like I go on and on. But I'm always like, how do I communicate all these things I want to say in 30 seconds in one? And of course, now we have AI and it's like amplified all of this for me. But how do I communicate that in 60 seconds? Can I do it in 30 seconds? Can we speed it up by 10%? Let me get it down to 26 seconds. So these are like the things that I experiment with and challenge myself on. This is like stuff I do in my free time. So check out TikTok if anyone here is um, just curious. And all of you need to have your social media presence. We're approaching a time when Nidhi talks to you guys about it, right? If you're not attending Sunday calls, you should, because other than deal analysis, he also talks about all that he's doing with AI. I know we're a real estate group, but it's all about building wealth and ownership, and that's what it's all about. So come join him on the Sunday calls. He talks about it. Um, I don't even know where I was going with it. All right, I won't. But there are some really cool things happening. And yes, I know where I was going with it. The world is going to change so much. We're going to become a society of entrepreneurs. And your brand and who you are as a person, the more authentic you are, no one can compete with authenticity. There's only one of you. And the more fearless you can be online, it'll if you feel like real estate gave you confidence, try putting yourself out there online and having people you don't even know root for you. And you'll get some haters too, and that's okay. It's part of the game. But like do that when it forces you to find your voice and who you are. And that's what this is all about, right? Like that's what we're talking about, like building that confidence and building what's that next thing. And for you guys, it's real estate now. All of you, if you're not doing this already, build your brand. And even if you don't have the end goal in mind, just build your brand as who you are right now. Goldie, what's next for you?
I don't know. I should probably have it clearly outlined.
You don't have to.
Yeah. Well, in Jacksonville, I'm planning to get to 15 properties, planning to get that before the end of this year, and then moving to my next market to diversify.
Nice.
Yeah. And I want to look into multifamilies. There's a part of me that is interested in a part of me that isn't, but in Jacksonville, apparently multifamilies isn't really a thing. So in my next market, I'd want to look into that and consider it.
Love it. Very cool.
I have something to say to build on
Yeah,
that. And I know I'm preaching
go
to the
for it.
choir here, but like build real estate because the future is changing. People have been getting wealthy off of real estate for hundreds of years. And I feel like for some people that makes it boring, right? Because now there's AI, there's tech companies, there's like all these things that are exciting. But real estate is tried and true, and it has been for hundreds, probably thousands of years. I remember like in Sunday school learning about like the landlord, like it got, into stories and stuff, like, right? And like religion, that there's a reason why it's been around for like thousands of years. And with the future changing so drastically with AI, I know I'm preaching to the choir, but like this is a really safe place to be.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Very cool. Okay, so my question for the two of you is, it's a little out there. Okay, so when I asked you what's next for you, you guys gave me like, oh, 10 properties in the next 2 years, 15 properties, uh, different markets. Love that. Awesome. Forget everything that you have done at your work or in real estate. Forget the tactics for a second and just stay with me in how you're feeling about yourself and your identity. This new person, 10 years from now, if that person didn't have anything stopping them, say everything just went your way, you're the luckiest person on this planet. Everything's going to go your way. Even if bad things happen, they're going to be for a good reason, and something even bigger that's really, really good is going to happen. You're that person. Where do you see yourself 10 years from now? I want to know.
It's lovely that you asked this question. I spent a little bit of last year and this year, right, thinking through visioning, what you just said. For a split second, and I'll just put it out here, I had this vivid image of,
That's it.
walking down and saying, like, looking at a whole community and saying, like, working through, building, just working with the contractors and thinking about the whole community versus, a neighborhood community versus one or two properties now that I had this split second and I was like, it just kind of blew me away that to your point, Palak, like 10 years from now, really owning my schedule and not being tied to a chair, but going beyond where we are, even within real estate, having different streams. You have your single family homes, but looking into bigger projects, maybe builders partnering. I think that's what I would like to be 10 years from now. And as women, we are always balancing, right? So we have our family and things like that. So being able to balance and really not tied down to a corporate chair,
Love it.
stressful meetings.
Yes. But so good that for a split second you had like a very big vision. I
Yes.
love it. Yes, stay with that. Don't let it be for a split second. And the more like Goldie's wedding
Absolutely.
vows, it's gonna just happen one day. And you'll be like, wait a minute, I talked about it on that Sensei panel.
Yes, that is
Yes, love it.
amazing.
What about you, Goldie?
Yeah. Well, with the wedding vow story, completely forgot that I wrote that in there. Like when I read it, I remembered, but I was kind of taken back. But yeah, I put it into the universe and it
Yeah.
comes
And you
true.
announced it to the whole world.
Yeah.
That's
hmm
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where I see myself in 10 years is to be like financially free, where work is optional. And my husband and I, we've talked about we're working towards it to like have enough assets or real estate and everything else that like the appreciation of it covers our expenses. But my husband and I are both the type of people that couldn't actually, just like do nothing and be retired. So
Of
knowing
course.
that we don't have to work,
Yeah.
but working for fun and then, picking projects just for fun, which I feel like is what I'm doing now, honestly. And I'm so grateful for it. But just knowing that if we wanted to like take a year sabbatical, we could, and it wouldn't
Ooh.
matter. That's like that level of financial stability where we could do that, but we'll probably choose to work anyways.
Yeah. And it feels like a sabbatical if you're creating something that's fun. It's not considered work. Um, yeah, I love that. That's a year sabbatical sounds really good. How old are your kids, Vibha and Goldie?
My youngest is 3.5. My older one is 8.
3.5 and 8. Okay.
Yes.
Mhm.
What
How
about
about
you,
you,
Goldie?
Goldie?
Yeah, my youngest, he's 2.5, and then my daughter's 4.
Okay. So you're both in the thick of it. I mean, I don't know. Cheryl or Anne might say I'm in the thick of it too. Or
Oh
Matt.
yeah, I mean, we're going to be empty nesters in the fall. It's going to be all like game on. Something's
Yeah.
different is happening, right? So yeah, it's fun. I love seeing all the different ages though, because we're all doing the same thing, but kind of where our mindset is a little different. It's kind of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much for doing this, you guys. So amazing. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for being vulnerable, being open, sharing your wisdom and your thoughts, and giving us like a different perspective on numbers and on multiple streams and on what happens if you hit a roadblock. And just, yeah, I loved it. Thank you so much. So there are some things in the chat, and because Cheryl does much better in terms of time than me, can I let you take over so we can get through the chat and ask any questions and still end on time?
Yeah, no, these are great. I don't know if you read this one from Elaine. Thank you for sharing. This is a strong, well-connected real estate investor community, and these two are great examples of that. I love the stories and your experiences so far. So good. Jatinder had a question. What are the best bookkeeping options suitable for BRRRR investing while staying in budget? So what do you guys use for bookkeeping?
I use Excel. It's probably not the right answer.
No, that means you're a power user. Amazing. How about you, Viva?
Need to excel at this point, but slowly we'll start shifting to something more systematic.
I use REI Hub because I hate to admit it. I don't know how to use Excel, so yeah.
Of course you do, Cheryl.
No, I don't know how
But
to.
I mean, there's no, Excel's completely fine. There's nothing wrong with Excel. It's just
Yeah, you know how to use it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rudy says, thank you, Goldie and Viva, for sharing your stories. So inspiring. Isha said, love these conversations. Very inspiring to keep pushing through difficult moments. Anne said, so inspiring. Danny, thank you so much for just for sharing what you have, Goldie and Viva. Elaine also said, and Ravinder said, a big thank you. So inspiring. So much to learn from both of you. And just, I say it too, both of you.
Okay. Sorry, Cheryl.
Different and amazing.
I didn't even ask, sorry, about their equity. Can we ask what's their so I think they shared their ARV, but I didn't ask.
Oh, yeah. Do you
their
all know your
equity.
numbers? Do you know the equity numbers you have? Yeah, okay.
Goldie's
Share it.
like,
I
yeah,
have my Excel
I know.
spreadsheet right here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Goldie's
so
like,
all of my homes have 75% mortgages. And so my equity is 441,000. But wait, let me delete one. Let me see. So the equity I built in 1 year was 374,000. And then using the Goldie math, right? That's as if I had a W-2 income of like 500K pre-tax. And then the cost seg is another probably like 75. So like 575 would be my pre-tax income. That was in my first year.
First year.
Yeah, the equivalent of pre-tax income of $575,000.
And how many hours did you actually work on this?
Not 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I take my morning walk. If my kids are sick, I like pick them up. I spend time with them. Like I spend so much less time than when I was working for somebody else, and I make so much more.
So not 20 hours a day is what you're saying.
Yes, exactly.
And it's just the first year, and it's full of learnings and really refining the system. So this is just the first year. Imagine what you're going to do next year and the year after and the year after.
Amazing. How about you, Viva? Do you have your equity numbers? Maybe you
Yeah,
do.
so I think with my rental incomes, my equity is 360,000. But this is not the Goldie calculation, but yeah.
Yeah. So if we add the what do we call it? The Goldie math? Is that what we're calling it?
Method.
TGM, the Goldie math. It's gonna go up to
400.
should go up to 500K, right? Because it would be around you'd have to make 450 to get 360, or even 500 to get 360, and then tax benefits. So are you working full-time right now, Viba?
Yes.
You are? Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Right now I'm working full time. That kind of helps me seed some of the initial investment too. So I will continue to do it for a couple of years, but definitely plan to transition out.
Mark my words, it's gonna be sooner.
But it gives you options. That's all. It just gives you
No, because I'm just saying that because she'll get the rep status if she and it might be more beneficial. But we'll find out in a couple years. We'll bring you back again.
I didn't think about that. Y'all, this has been amazing.
Love you guys.
All good. Thank you
Love
all.
you guys. See you next week. Bye.
Thank you, guys.
When you're ready to get serious, you can join us at theinvestoraccelerator.com.
It's like getting 1,000 episodes worth of information in 5 days, and it's everything you need to build your actionable plan to financial freedom and making work optional.